Hello everyone and welcome back to this brand new video. It feels super good to be back, and before I get into the DeckTech, I wanted to apologize for not being able to upload, but I was pretty busy with applying to masters because if you don't know yet, I am graduating this year, so that involves a lot of paperwork for masters and a lot of researching for universities, so that took a while from my time. And beyond that, there's this thing that you shouldn't mention on YouTube, the whole thing we're going through on the world, the whole disease. And it's been spreading like wildfire in my country, so it's kind of been harder for me to actually shop, and I'm not letting my parents go out to shop because, elderly people are more prone to the disease. So I've been doing a lot more around the house, and that is taking of my time a lot. But I am back and it feels super good to be back. If I ever skip a day of uploading, it's probably because of university and because of the coursework. But for now, I'm glad to say that Chromium is back, and without further ado, let's actually get into our DeckTech. So today we're playing Jeskai Control, and for anyone that likes Jeskai, that likes Control, I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna enjoy this video, obviously. So let me get into it, and before actually we get into it, I want to have a small disclaimer that Control decks actually get better the more the meta is kind of figured out. So currently there's a lot of speculation from my part around what's gonna be played, and that's why I have this kind of layout. But this deck will improve the more we go with the meta, so give Control some time. It might not look the best currently, but trust me, it's gonna be better as we go on. So I'm playing 2 Essence Scatter to be able to counter Lotus Cobra on the draw, and in case it's not on the draw, on the play, and in case I'm on the draw, Essence Scatter can counter a turn 4 Omnath, so that's super good. Omen of the Sea is obviously a very good card for a control deck. If they don't do anything, you can use it to scry, and then you can just play it on your turn for 2 mana, which is good because it gives you something to do in case you don't use your Essence Scatter. And let's please appreciate how amazing Sub McKinnon is. Sub McKinnon is actually my favorite Magic artist, so for those of you who don't know, now you learn something else about me. Shatterskull Smashing has been amazing, and I really like the new model DFC lands because they truly are a correct step in the way of fixing the mana system of Magic without actually changing the game itself, and I'm quite happy that they're experimenting with them. So it's an all-star in a control deck because as a control deck you do want to make your land drops turn after turn after turn, but you don't want to draw too many lands, and that kind of fixes the problem because at any stage in the game, if you draw this, you can either use it as a land drop, and later on in the game the effect is actually quite relevant. You can kill a lot of things. So that's it for Shatterskull Smashing. Silundi Vision, kind of the same thing as Shatterskull Smashing, but what I like about it is that it gives you something to do on turn 3. So on turn 3, in case we don't have to neutralize something, in case we don't have to Soul Sear something, we just use it, and it also helps you dig into your Shatter the Sky more consistently, so that's something interesting as well. Now Neutralize is obviously a control, obviously a counter spell, and we're playing control, so we need it. Soul Sear deals with a lot of threats, and the cool thing about it is that it deals with Omnath, so that's always something you would want, and it's instant speed, so like you can do it maybe in response to him playing Fabled Passage, cracking Fabled Passage to get an Omnath trigger, so there are options with the card being instant speed. Shatter the Sky is here to stop us from dying against control, and Narset is just our do-all Planeswalker, and she's super fast to ulti, which is good because most of the time you can win with her emblem on pretty fast. But beyond that, her -2 draw this card is actually pretty relevant because in case you're just behind and you want to draw a card, you can -2 draw a card, and in case you have an Elspeth Conquers that on the field, you can -2 draw a card, draw a Dream Trawler, pitch the Dream Trawler, deal 6 to something, next turn get it back, so that's amazing. And since I've already mentioned Elspeth Conquers that, we obviously have to play it. It's an amazing powerhouse, and I'm expecting this to shape standard or at least be played a lot. Now, Shark Typhoon is obviously a very cool addition for your control decks just because it can be a win con in the late game, and in the early game you can just use it as a way to chump block, throw you a card, and then that's super good. Dream Trawler is yet another win con, and I'm kind of experimenting with this card. I don't really like it, but as I mentioned, speculations, and we have to experiment. Emeria's Call is, I think, the best model DFC, at least from my experience currently. I might be wrong, but the fact that it favors as such a good win con is simply amazing. 2/4/4 Angels can win the game pretty quickly, so that's why I'm playing this card. Some people are playing 2 in their lists, but I wanted to also test out Seagate Restoration, so that's why I'm playing 1 of only. If you like it that much, you can maybe cut down the Seagate Restoration and play 2 of it actually. And Inspired Ultimatum is kind of just a flavor one, honestly. This goes out to my friend Tabish, who's been supporting our channel ever since I started, and to make him happy and to make with another one of my subscribers, Afneen, happy, I wanted to play an Inspired Ultimatum just to show the power of Jeskai to everyone. For our land base, I'm quite happy once again with the flip lands. They have been quite good while testing, and I expected them to be mainly good in control. In aggro decks, but they've been playing quite well in control decks, so we have to give them credit for that. Obviously, we're in Zendikar, so we're gonna be using full arts. So we have two plains, 2 islands, 2 mountains, and we're obviously using those for our Fabled Passage. I'm playing 4 Temple of Enlightenment because we kind of are blue heavy. And we're playing just 1 Temple of Triumph just because we want to hit our red sources consistently as much as possible. Beyond that, we're playing the Triome, and we're playing 3 of the Boros flip land. And in case you're feeling like the meta is too fast, you can cut down 1 Temple of Triumph and actually play a playset of these. And we are playing obviously the playset of Izzet flip lands. Now, as for the sideboard, I'm playing Disenchant, and you might wonder, why are you playing Disenchant? Now, Disenchant is cool because not only can it stop maybe an opposing Shark Typhoon and opposing Elspeth Conqueror's Death, but actually something that it can stop and that I've been seeing a lot on ladder is Felidar Retreat. And they actually have that card in our sideboard. Yeah, that's interesting. Now, let me get into that after a while. Negate is obviously here to stop the ultimatums that are annoying. Cinderclasm is an amazing card against aggro, and this card has been outshining, especially in draft. You have no idea how many times I 3-for-1 my opponent playing maybe Boros in draft, and it just destroyed his dreams of ever coming back into the game. And I'm expecting this card to be very good and constructed as well. Mystical Dispute is an amazing card against, once again, Ultimatum. Any blue deck, it can counter Omnath, it can do a lot of things. Bonecrusher Giant is good against aggro decks because not only does it allow you to kill their threat on turn 2, it also allows you to untap on turn 3 and actually have a threat to block. And last but not least, Felidar Retreat. Felidar Retreat has been amazing, and I like this card especially in grindy games, especially that they're not gonna have in mind that, oh okay, he's gonna bring in Felidar Retreat, so that could be a thing that will shock your opponent, especially when you're playing a very grindy game. So turning every single one of your land drops into either a 2/2 or a counter to buff all of your 2/2s is actually quite insane. And just because I love this card so much and because it was doing so well during testing, let's actually play one more. But I would advise you to play 4 Bonecrusher Giants. I'm just quite in love with this card. So that's gonna be it for the deck tag. If you want to see this deck in action, obviously stick around for the games. But before we actually get into our games, I would like to please ask you to subscribe because it helps the channel a lot. If you want to help the channel beyond that, you can check out my Patreon link in the description down below. And with that, and I really miss saying this, let's see you in the games. Alright, so we're going into our first game of Jeskai Control. I really like our hand. I mean, we have a potential, Wrath, depending on what our opponent is playing, an Omen of the Sea, a good mana base. I think this is definitely a keeper and the hand you would want to see in your games. So let's see, is our opponent playing Izzet? Alright, not Izzet. I was trying to guess what he's playing from his land. So he's playing kind of a red-black deck. I really don't know all of the meta yet. I know that 4-color Omnath, 4-color Winota is quite popular. I have not seen a lot of Rakdos decks. Alright, it seems like this is the logical thing to take. Because if he doesn't take this, he's probably gonna lose his Kite Sail along with other things, or Shark Typhoon could be also an option. Yeah, definitely. We're gonna play this as a red source and we're gonna pass the turn. I really like Model DFC cards. I think I've mentioned this before, I'm gonna keep on mentioning it. I think they're a very correct step from Wizards into improving the land system, especially in Standard, which is I think the format that suffers the most from the land system. I mean, Modern and Legacy kind of have ways to thin out your deck. I think we're gonna bottom the land and keep the Narset. Yeah, so I was saying, I think Modern and Legacy have a way to fix the land system just by having access to ways to kind of thin out your deck from lands, that being the fetch lands. But Standard only has Fabled Passage to thin out your deck, and that is a huge problem we have. I do not expect Lily to be honest with all of you, but I think we can deal with her with Narset, so I'm fine. I'm really fine. I'm gonna... No, I'm not gonna volunteer. So we're gonna actually do this first, get a blue source, and then Omen to have perfect information before we do anything with this. We don't want any shatter, so Rakdos discard. That could be a very hard matchup. I think we're gonna keep Seagate Restoration to pitch it to Narset. I think Shatterskull Smashing is the worst thing at this stage. Yeah, Lily, you're just gonna die next turn, so like please limit your talking. So -2, pitch, destroy, and let's hope he doesn't have another one in hands. Narset, I mean Lily, please stop talking because you're just dead. Alright, Kroxa, pitch a land, and I think it's safe to scry at upkeep. I think it's safe to scry at upkeep, right? Yeah, too late. Let's just plus, make some blue mana, and use our red mana to Omen of the Sea. And now what are we hoping to hit? There's not really things I'm hoping to hit, honestly. Maybe Elspeth conquers that for the future, but beyond that, nothing much. Let's just play this as a red source because we want to hit triple red for our amazing ultimatum, and this is actually probably what we're trying to hit. We're trying to hit ultimatum, especially that we can play it next turn with Narset that is ramping into it quite well. Kroxa is not coming here anytime soon unless he has Fabled Passage and maybe something, but he didn't. Narset can take the hit, it's fine with me. Please reveal an ultimatum off the top. Please ultimatum off the top. Please ultimatum off the top. Okay, I mean ask for things and you will get them. Alright, so we do have triple red, we have we have double blue, we have triple red, so we need to add white. White, and now we should be able to cast this. Target me, kill this. Okay, get back a Shark Typhoon. And then even if he like stacks it or does something, we still do get the full trigger. Oh, it still happens, opponent, it still happens. See, a lot of people don't know that this still happens even if they have something to say about it. I mean, Heartless Act does not stop a 7 mana spell. It's not that good of a... It's not that bad of a card for you to just be able to stop it for 2 mana. I mean, Kroxa is quite annoying, but sure, we can just pitch Shark Typhoon. And now we can kill it, I think. We can Shatterskull Summit for... Right now we can do it for 1, 2, 3, 4. You can play a land, plus add any color of mana. Shatterskull Summit for 6. And that should kill it. And we're just gonna submit 1. Yeah, take 12. So deals X damage divided as you choose among... Oh yeah, I paid X. Yeah. If that's because X is 6 or more, that's why I was able to deal 12. I will miss you too, Narset. Let's just play our Narset. Minus... Pitch, shatter, kill this. I mean, control is so much fun to play, especially when you're like destroying this card, which is an annoying matchup. So now we're just gonna pass, and now we have Neutralize up to counter anything he might play. At least anything problematic, I'm not gonna counter anything. So if he plays a creature, yeah, let's not let that happen. Alright, and he concedes. With that we go to game 2. Okay. I mean, now game 2 he's probably gonna bring in some like duress type effects, so Bone Crusher Giant is quite good. Felidar Retreat becomes also quite good. I think Soul Sear is not gonna be that good because it doesn't kill a lot of things. Essence Scatter could say that we could say the same, I mean, about Essence Scatter. Shatter the Sky is obviously not the strongest card in our hand. A negate could be quite good. I'm gonna go down to Elspeth Conquers Death, seeing how I only saw Lily that can be hit and like the Murderous Rider. I think we go down 1 ultimatum because I'm probably never gonna be able to cast them with like the discard. Go down One scatter because it does nothing against discard spells, and actually 2 scatters, and I'm gonna keep 2 Shatter the Sky. Now yes, scatter does deal with Kroxa and does deal with other things, like if you're afraid of Kite Sail, but I think the fact that we have Bone Crusher Giant, and speaking of Bone Crusher Giant, the fact that we have Bone Crusher Giant allows us to actually just Bone Crusher Giant the Kite Sail. I'm not that afraid of it, to be honest. Now the question is, do I want to have access to turn 2 Bone Crusher Giant, or for sure have turn 3 Neutralize? So if you go Temple, I think we're gonna have access to, I'd rather have access to turn 3 Neutralize. We're gonna keep this because we want to fix our mana for Ultimatum. Although I doubt it's gonna stay in our hand for much. Now we could be, we're just gonna play our Triome because that gives us access to anything we have in mind next turn. And if he just plays his Kroxa, we're just gonna pitch in any land and I'm fine. So opponent, what is the plan? The plan is Fabled Passage. Quite a slow start from our opponent, to say the least. I'm gonna play this on the red side because now we have triple red in case we fetch a red source, and we have double white. We would still need to get triple blue, double blue, but it's okay. Either double blue or double white. So Felidar Retreat is gonna look quite amazing, especially with the Fabled Passage to back it up. So next turn we could have over 4 power on board. We're not gonna let that resolve. So let's just play our island, play our Felidar Retreat, and now we just sit and wait. I'm sorry guys, I'm not usually this evil. Actually maybe I am, but like for now I'm just happy about Felidar Retreat. I mean, sure we're gonna be taking 2, but it's not the worst thing. We're gonna play our thing, we're gonna create a 2/2. And I'm actually gonna bait him into killing it, and then I'm gonna get a counter on it, just to kind of make his turn a bit worse. Or we could also do other things, so I'm gonna wait before making my mind. Kroxa is okay, we're gonna pitch in a land. Probably gonna pitch in a land, yeah. Bye bye land, you will be missed. Not really. Now he could just discard his hand with Chandra. He doesn't. So let's try to punish him with a searching for a mountain. Let's search for a mountain and then put a counter on it. So opponent, what's the plan? So he uses a Heartless Act on something I can get for free. Not the best feeling, honestly. Okay, sure. Let's just keep on passing the turn. Pass. Alright, so my turn, we're gonna use this. We're gonna get yet another one of these, which is fine with me. And I think I'm gonna stomp the Chandra, and just so it's in range of dying next turn. So it's just gonna play our Chandra, play our land, get a 2/2, and then just pass. They cannot keep up with Felidar Retreat. I do believe this from the bottom of my heart. They cannot keep up with it. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, a land would be a good top deck next turn, and not top decking a land would also be good. So I'm not worried about any of my draws next turn. We're gonna try to do the same thing, but now we actually put a counter on our Bone Crusher as well, right? Yeah, put it on each creature you control. So yeah. So we have access to triple red, double blue. I mean, we either have to draw a blue or a white source next turn. So let's just put counters on our creatures. Yep. Oh no, my cat took 2. How can I stop that? Oh no. So opponent, what's the plan? What's the plan? What's the plan? It seems that there is no plan. Is there a plan? I mean that's annoying, but it's fine. Yeah, sure. Let's do the usual. 2 damage to Chandra. Play the other retreat. play this so we have access to Ultimatum next turn. Make a 2/2, make a 2/2, and if he escapes Kroxa, we're in a horrible position because I lose my Ultimatum. I just noticed that. Alright, so he doesn't have enough cards in graveyard for Kroxa. Now he does. Why did you have to top deck Passage? Alright, so things are not looking amazing right now. Fuck. And we lose our Ultimatum. We lose our Ultimatum, guys. And we get Shark Typhoon. Okay, so not the worst thing ever. So now if I Shark Typhoon next turn for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we put a counter on it from double Fabled Retreat, we're in a good spot. Actually, I might just scry now in case we get to a land. Yeah, let's just do this now. Maybe we get into a land. Because if you do get into a land, Fabled Retreats are good. We don't get into a land, but I mean, it was worth the thought. It was worth the thought indeed. Is this the time to use Chandra to discard your hand? Look at the top 3. He still wants to destroy my cats, which is understandable. Kite Sail to get rid of my Neutralize, that's fine. I mean, as long as we get a land, I'm fine. No Heartless Act. Okay, sure. Yep. Time to draw a land, and we do. So make a 2/2, make a 2/2, make a Bone Crusher guy. I mean, we have draws that win us the game. I mean, Elspeth Conquers Death. I mean, I did side, I think, 2 out. Yeah, I think I did side 2 out. So like, let's forget about Elspeth Conquers Death. But I mean, we do have options. We're just not drawing into them. And getting rid of our Ultimatum was quite heartbreaking. I think it's time to discard your hand and then exile. I think opponent doesn't know that mode exists. So plus, yeah, we're dead. You can minus skill, plus skill, we're dead. Alright, so opponent is going Planeswalkers. We're gonna get back our thing, get a negate. I think I want to lose these because they're not doing as much as I wanted them to do. I think that's it. We're just gonna go into the next game. Yep. Sorry, my friend just messaged me. And let's just spend some time. Okay. Let's just play first and attempt to actually win this. Okay. Not the worst hand, so we're gonna keep it. We're gonna scry. I don't think I want more lands. Now, if we have the option of double negating discard spells, so we're quite happy. And in the future, we have the option to... We have triple Neutralize, so that's something. Double Neutralize, so that's something as well. So if he goes for discard spell, we just negate. And then negate next turn, then Neutralize the next couple of turns. I mean, that is the most optimistic thing I have in mind. But I think it's more logical to cycle this into things that are useful. And so this is very useful. Now we have access to triple blue. We can now neutralize something, and then we can untap, play our Narset, so that's good. We're gonna let that resolve. Although now if he just taps out and plays it, I'm just gonna neutralize it, but I'd rather not risk him having something else in his hand. So what's the plan? Yeah, let's just neutralize that. Alright, we're gonna actually, now that we drew Faradar, we're gonna pass. And we're gonna have double negate up. Negate, and then Fabled Passage, Faradar, Fabled Passage, get 2 threats is good enough for me, yep. Now we negate. And now we crack this, get a red source. Now depending on our draw next turn, I'll decide what to do. Yeah, I think just because we drew that, I think I'm safe playing the Faladar. And then we play a Fabled Passage, get a 2/2. And now just pass. All of our draws are good next turn. If we draw a spell, we're good. If we draw a land, we're good. That I did not expect, to be very honest, but we could just drop kick it with Narset. Okay, let's do this. Let's fetch this, get a red source, because we are working our way up to the triple red for the ultimatum. Make a 2/2 and hope to draw a land to put counters on the creatures. And we do draw a land. So now we could either keep this. I think we're gonna... I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Alright, so we could play this. Now we have access to negate, and now we have triple red for ultimatum, and I think we're gonna play this one. Alright, so we're gonna pay 3 life. We're gonna put in a counter on each creature we control. Now if he has a Bone Crusher Giant, we're gonna let it resolve, and we're gonna see what he has to say about my 3/3 attacking him. Okay, let's just play our Narset. Minus our Narset. Pitch this. Shoot this Scavenger. We have Narset active on a quite empty field, so we're good. If he goes for Chandra, we have our negate. So all of our options seems good for this turn. Seem good, I mean, for this turn. Now next turn we can play lands, Faradar Retreat, make a 2/2. I do believe that they can't keep up with Faradar Retreat. It's a huge belief of mine that's not possible to keep up with it for this kind of deck. Let's just plus. And now we play our Temple of Enlightenment. Make a 2/2. Alright, so we're gonna keep our Bone Crusher Giant. And now we're just gonna simply attack our opponent for 3. Now we have Faradar Retreat to protect our Narset potentially, so we're quite happy about that. Okay, that's enough for me. I mean, if we just stay back, keep this Faradar Retreat, use it to win the game, I think we're gonna be fine. And if he has now, if he has any Planeswalker, we can just have the negate to just deal with it, so I'm happy. Now we also have the minus for Narset, just to, I mean, could just use Narset offensively. I mean, just draw to kind of get some card advantage, that's always an option. Does he have the Shatterskull Summit to deal with Narset and my Faladar token? Alright, we're gonna cycle, just not to give him more information. Now we're gonna negate. I think I'd rather keep my... Alright, and that's enough to win the game. Yeah, I wanted to say he could have a Chandra, but I would have expected him to play it on other turns. And that's why I actually went for that. I thought that it's impossible for him to have a Chandra within the hands that he is keeping. This shows the power of modal lands. See, I used it as just a spell. I mean, I used it as just a land, he used it as a spell. So that's something quite interesting. The allowable flexibility that it offers you is quite interesting. But that's gonna be pretty much it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy it, please do make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to comment because it's quite useful for me for the YouTube algorithm. Now, if you want to help the channel beyond the YouTube algorithm, you can check out my Patreon link in the description down below. And speaking of patrons, I wanted to thank them for making my content possible, and a huge shout out to I am Mark Mac. And with that, let me show you the card, and with that, I'll see you guys next time.